Most people think olive oil is only something you cook with, but what if a small amount before bed could affect your digestion, blood sugar, circulation, and even how you feel when you wake up? Over the years, I've noticed that many older adults overlook one simple evening habit that may support several areas of health at once. The surprising part isn't what olive oil does, it's when you take it. My name is Dr. David Chen. One bedtime habit kept surprising me. Stay with me because the final benefit catches most people off guard. For many years, I believed most people paid attention to the big things when it came to health. They focused on medications, exercise programs, special diets, and complicated routines. Those things certainly matter. But as I spent more time talking with my patients, especially those over the age of 60, I noticed something interesting. Many of them were struggling with the same concerns. They would tell me they felt sluggish in the morning. Some complained about uncomfortable digestion. Others were worried about blood sugar levels that seemed difficult to control. Many felt their energy wasn't what it used to be. Some even noticed that their hands and feet seemed colder than before. At first, these problems appeared unrelated, but then I started noticing patterns. The people who seemed to do best often had something in common. They consistently included healthy fats in their daily routine. One particular habit kept appearing again and again, and it wasn't during breakfast or lunch, it was before bed. Now, before I explain why that matters, let me be clear about something. I'm not suggesting that olive oil is a miracle cure. No single food can solve every health problem. Anyone who tells you otherwise is oversimplifying the human body. However, what I am saying is that timing can sometimes make a surprising difference. And that's where things get interesting. Many people think the body simply shuts down at night. They imagine that once they fall asleep, everything pauses until morning. But that's not what happens at all. In fact, while you're sleeping, your body becomes incredibly busy. It repairs tissues, it regulates hormones, it processes nutrients, it balances blood sugar, it performs countless maintenance tasks that help keep you healthy. Think of your body like a city. During the day, the roads are crowded with traffic. Everyone is rushing somewhere. Resources are constantly being used. At night, when things become quieter, repair crews can finally get to work. Roads can be fixed. Systems can be maintained. Problems can be addressed. Your body works in a similar way, and what you provide your body before sleep may influence how effectively some of those overnight processes occur. But here's what surprised me. Many people never realize how important healthy fats can be during this period. I remember speaking with one patient who said, "Doctor, I've spent years trying to avoid fats because I thought they were bad for me." That belief was very common. Years ago, many people were taught that all fats were the enemy. They removed healthy fats from their meals and replaced them with highly processed foods that were often much worse. Today, we know the story is more complicated. Some fats can be harmful when consumed excessively, but others can support important functions throughout the body. And olive oil belongs in that second category. After years of seeing patients, one lesson became very clear. The body needs the right building materials to function well. Without them, it struggles. With them, it often performs better. But there was one question I kept hearing. Why olive oil before bed? The answer starts with understanding what happens while you sleep. Your digestive system doesn't completely stop working overnight. It slows down, but it remains active. Your body continues processing nutrients and preparing for the next day. This is particularly important for older adults. As we age, digestion often becomes less efficient. Many people notice that things simply don't move through the digestive system as smoothly as they once did. If you've experienced occasional constipation, bloating, or digestive discomfort, you're certainly not alone. I've heard these complaints thousands of times. And this is where olive oil enters the conversation. Olive oil contains healthy monounsaturated fats. These fats can support digestive comfort in several ways. Some people notice that their bowel movements become more regular. Others report feeling less sluggish in the morning. Many describe a general sense of digestive ease. Now, results vary from person to person. What works well for one individual may produce different results for another. But the pattern is common enough that it deserves attention, and digestion is only the beginning, because the next benefit may be even more important, especially if you're concerned about blood sugar. Before I explain that, let me tell you about someone I'll call Margaret. Margaret was 71 years old when she first mentioned her frustrations to me. Every morning felt like a struggle. She would wake up feeling heavy and uncomfortable. Her digestion wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. She often felt as though her body was working harder than it should. What frustrated her most was that she assumed this was simply part of getting older. "I guess this is just what happens after 70, she told me. I hear that sentence far too often. Many people assume that every new discomfort is an unavoidable consequence of aging. Sometimes that's true, but many times it isn't. Margaret had already made several positive changes. She walked regularly. She tried to eat balanced meals. She stayed hydrated. Yet she still felt there was room for improvement. Eventually, she began incorporating a small amount of extra virgin olive oil into her evening routine. Nothing dramatic happened overnight, and that's important. Real health improvements rarely happen overnight, but after several weeks she began noticing small changes. Her mornings felt easier, her digestion seemed more predictable, she felt less uncomfortable throughout the day. Most importantly, she felt encouraged, and that emotional shift mattered just as much as the physical changes, because once people begin seeing progress, they're often motivated to continue making healthy choices. What happened next surprised her even more, and it brings us to a topic that affects millions of adults over 60: blood sugar. What happened next surprised Margaret even more. During one of our follow-up conversations, she mentioned that her energy seemed steadier throughout the day. She wasn't experiencing the same ups and downs she had become accustomed to. Now, olive oil is not a medication for diabetes, and it should never replace a treatment plan prescribed by your doctor. But healthy fats can play an important role in how the body processes food and manages energy. I've seen many patients misunderstand this. They focus only on sugar and carbohydrates while ignoring the impact of healthy fats. Yet the body is far more complex than that. Think of blood sugar like traffic moving through a busy city. When too many cars rush onto the highway at once, congestion forms. Traffic becomes unpredictable. But when vehicles enter at a more controlled pace, everything tends to move more smoothly. Healthy fats can sometimes help slow digestion, which may contribute to a more gradual release of energy after meals. This is one reason many nutrition experts encourage balanced meals instead of meals made almost entirely of refined carbohydrates. What makes nighttime especially interesting is that your body continues regulating blood sugar while you sleep. Even though you're resting, important metabolic processes remain active. Your liver releases stored energy, hormones fluctuate, cells continue carrying out repair work. It's an incredibly busy period behind the scenes, and the choices you make before bed may influence how your body navigates those hours. Over the years, I've noticed something else among patients who consistently focused on healthy fats, regular movement, and balanced nutrition. Many reported improvements that extended beyond digestion and energy. They often talked about feeling warmer in their hands and feet, having greater stamina during walks, or simply feeling more comfortable throughout the day. At first, these observations seemed unrelated. But when I looked closer, a common thread began to appear. That thread was circulation. Now here's where things become especially important for older adults. As we age, our blood vessels face years of wear and tear. Imagine a network of highways that has been used continuously for decades. Small amounts of damage can accumulate over time. Traffic may not move as efficiently as it once did. In the body, healthy circulation helps deliver oxygen and nutrients where they're needed most. When circulation isn't functioning optimally, people may notice fatigue, slower recovery, cold extremities, or reduced physical performance. Olive oil contains compounds that researchers have studied for their potential role in supporting heart and blood vessel health. One of the reasons the Mediterranean style of eating receives so much attention is because olive oil serves as a major source of healthy fat. Of course, no single ingredient deserves all the credit. The overall lifestyle matters, physical activity matters, sleep matters, stress management matters, but olive oil often appears as part of a broader pattern associated with healthy aging. I remember another patient named Robert, aged 68. Robert originally came to me because he wanted to improve his overall health after retirement. He wasn't looking for a miracle. In fact, he was skeptical of anything that sounded too simple. He had spent years believing that meaningful health improvements required complicated programs. When he heard discussions about olive oil, he dismissed them as another health trend. But Robert was willing to make small changes. He started eating more whole foods, walking daily, and replacing some less healthy fats with extra virgin olive oil. One evening, he decided to take a modest amount before bed as part of his routine. Again, nothing dramatic happened overnight. There were no fireworks, no instant transformation, but after several weeks, he noticed something unexpected. His morning walks felt easier. He wasn't necessarily walking faster, but he felt more comfortable. His legs seemed less tired. He felt more motivated to stay active. What fascinated me wasn't the physical improvement itself, it was the chain reaction that followed. Feeling better encouraged him to move more. Moving more improved his fitness. Better fitness supported his overall health. One positive habit created momentum for another. This is something many people overlook. Health improvements rarely happen in isolation. One small success often leads to another. A person sleeps better, so they have more energy. More energy leads to more activity. More activity supports better circulation and blood sugar control. Better results create motivation. Before long, several positive changes begin reinforcing each other. But there was another aspect of olive oil that many patients never expected. Some reported feeling more satisfied in the evening. They were less likely to reach for late-night snacks. This may sound insignificant, but it can be very important. Late-night eating often involves highly processed foods, sugary snacks, or unnecessary calories. When people feel more satisfied before bed, they may naturally avoid some of those habits. And yet, despite these potential benefits, I've seen many individuals make mistakes that prevent them from getting the results they hoped for. The first mistake is assuming that more must be better. This is a common trap. People hear that olive oil may be beneficial and immediately begin taking large amounts. Unfortunately, that's not how health works. Olive oil is calorie-dense. Excessive amounts can lead to digestive discomfort and may add more calories than a person realizes. Moderation is usually the wiser approach. The second mistake is choosing poor quality olive oil. Not all products are created equal. Extra virgin olive oil generally undergoes less processing and retains more of its natural compounds. Quality matters. Many patients spend money on supplements and expensive products while overlooking the importance of choosing a good quality olive oil. The third mistake is expecting immediate results. This may be the biggest mistake of all. The body rarely transforms overnight. Most meaningful improvements occur gradually through consistency. People often quit just before they would have begun noticing positive changes, and that's unfortunate because healthy aging is largely a game of patience. The habits that matter most are usually not dramatic. They're the ones you repeat day after day, week after week, and month after month. The same principle applies to olive oil. It isn't about a single night. It's about creating a routine that supports your long-term goals. But how much should someone actually take? And what kind of routine makes the most sense? That's where many people become confused, and in the next part, I'll explain the simple approach I often discuss with patients, along with the important situations where someone should speak with their doctor before trying it. When people ask me how much olive oil they should take before bed, I always encourage them to think about consistency rather than quantity. The goal is not to consume as much as possible. The goal is to incorporate a reasonable amount into an overall healthy lifestyle. For many adults, a small amount of extra virgin olive oil is often enough to become part of a sustainable routine. The exact amount can vary depending on individual health needs, body size, diet, and medical conditions. That's why personalized advice from your healthcare provider is always important. What I've learned after years of working with older adults is that the simplest routines are often the ones people maintain the longest. Complex health plans may sound impressive, but they frequently fail because they're difficult to follow. A simple evening routine stands a much better chance of becoming a lasting habit. Imagine two people trying to improve their health. One creates a complicated plan involving multiple supplements, strict schedules, and constant monitoring. The other focuses on a few manageable habits: walking daily, eating more whole foods, staying hydrated, sleeping well, and incorporating healthy fats like olive oil into meals and evening routines. Months later, the second person often experiences better long-term results because consistency beats perfection. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. People don't fail because they lack information. They fail because the plan becomes impossible to maintain. That's why I often remind patients that healthy aging isn't about finding a secret shortcut. It's about making small decisions that support the body over time. One patient taught me this lesson particularly well. I'll call her Linda. Linda was 74 years old when she first came to see me. She felt discouraged, not because she had a serious illness, but because she felt her best years were behind her. She often described herself as slowing down. Her energy wasn't what it used to be. She felt stiff in the mornings. Her digestion was inconsistent. Most of all, she felt frustrated that despite trying different health trends, nothing seemed to create lasting change. What stood out to me wasn't her physical condition. It was her mindset. She had begun believing that decline was inevitable. Over time, we focused on realistic goals rather than dramatic transformations. She improved her diet gradually. She became more active. She paid closer attention to sleep. She reduced highly processed foods. As part of those broader changes, she began using extra virgin olive oil regularly, including a small amount in the evening. The first few weeks felt uneventful. Then small changes began appearing. She felt slightly better in the morning. Her digestion became more predictable. Her daily walks seemed less exhausting. Nothing happened all at once. But after several months, she told me something I'll never forget. She said, "Doctor, I don't feel younger. I just feel more like myself again." That statement perfectly captures what many people are truly seeking. Most adults over 60 aren't trying to become 25 again. They're trying to maintain independence. They want energy to enjoy family. They want confidence when they leave the house. They want to wake up feeling capable. They want their bodies to support the lives they still want to live. And sometimes the most meaningful improvements come from habits so simple that people initially dismiss them. Now, before you rush to your kitchen tonight, it's important to set realistic expectations. One of the biggest problems I see is that people expect immediate results. They start a new habit on Monday and expect dramatic changes by Wednesday. When that doesn't happen, they conclude the habit doesn't work. The human body rarely operates that way. In the first week, some people may notice subtle digestive changes. Others may notice nothing at all. That's perfectly normal. Your body is adapting to a new routine, and meaningful changes often require time. During the second week, some individuals begin noticing more consistency in digestion, appetite, or morning comfort. Again, results vary significantly from person to person. By the end of a month, some people report that they simply feel better overall. Not dramatically different, not transformed overnight, just better. And in many cases, that's exactly what successful, healthy aging looks like. Small improvements accumulating over time. 1% better today, another 1% better tomorrow. Those small gains eventually create a noticeable difference. However, there are situations where caution is necessary. This is especially important if you have existing medical conditions. If you're managing diabetes, continue following the plan developed by your healthcare provider. Monitor blood sugar as recommended. Never replace prescribed treatments with home remedies or dietary changes without professional guidance. If you have gallbladder problems, digestive disorders, or difficulty processing fats, speak with your doctor before significantly increasing olive oil intake. The same applies if you have kidney disease or take medications that require careful dietary management. Your individual health situation matters. What works for one person may not be appropriate for another. Responsible health advice always acknowledges those differences. That's one reason I encourage viewers to think critically whenever they encounter claims that sound too good to be true. If someone promises that olive oil will cure every health problem, be skeptical. Health simply doesn't work that way. But if someone tells you that small, consistent habits can support better long-term outcomes, that's a message worth considering. And that brings me to a challenge I'd like you to think about. For the next 14 days, pay closer attention to your evening routine. If olive oil is appropriate for your situation and your doctor has no concerns, consider incorporating a modest amount of high-quality extra virgin olive oil as part of a balanced lifestyle. But don't stop there. Notice how you sleep. Notice your digestion. Notice your energy levels. Notice how you feel when you wake up. Keep your expectations realistic, but remain observant. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness. Many people spend years searching for dramatic solutions while overlooking the power of small daily habits. Yet, when I look back at the patients who age most successfully, I rarely see extreme measures. I see consistency. I see patience. I see people making healthy choices, even when the results aren't immediate. Those choices eventually add up. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson olive oil can teach us. Not that one food changes everything, but that small actions repeated consistently can create meaningful change. I've watched patients improve their confidence, maintain their independence, and enjoy more active lives because they embraced simple habits they could actually sustain. That's a message worth remembering. If you've ever felt discouraged about your health, remember this. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be valuable. Sometimes the most important improvements happen quietly, one day at a time, beneath the surface. Then one morning, you realize you're moving a little easier, feeling a little stronger, and enjoying life a little more. If this discussion has been helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried olive oil before bed, or are you considering starting? Let me know in the comments below. Your experience may help someone else who is watching today, and if you know a friend or family member who might benefit from this information, consider sharing this video with them. Don't forget to subscribe for more practical, science-based healthy aging advice designed specifically for adults over 60. Most importantly, remember that this video is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Never stop medications or change treatment plans without consulting your healthcare provider. I'm Dr. David Chen. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take good care of yourself, stay curious about your health, and I'll see you in the next video.